Hi there, I'm back with Caroline, and what I'm going to be doing on Caroline is a light layered haircut. Now this is done using a traveling guide, and you can adjust it, and this is one of the reasons I'm doing several different lengths of light layering depending on what you want the end results to be. Now what I'm going to do on Caroline, she has this wonderful square jawline. So what I want to do is drop it down to about an inch or so below the chin area. Okay, then I'm not going to do a lot of angle in the front. I'm only going to do the layers around the lower perimeter. So the way I'll achieve that, I'm going to first, just to make it convenient for cutting, measure the flat of the head always. Section off a horseshoe shaping in the top area. This will get this hair out of the way. Flat of the head and around, and this is out of the way. This is the top hair. Now I have hers parted right here where we're going to part it. Now that will be sectioned on the top. Same thing, we're going to section in the middle. We want to, this is kind of a hard fast rule here, so you don't get hair too short in here. This middle of the ear parting, the same thing on this side. This is exactly how I'd cut this haircut in the salon. I'm just really taking and showing you step by step. The next parting will be just right at the very nape of the neck. This hair now I'll be able to section through horizontal partings and go for my cut. And I will have one more clip just to clip this up. And if I'm having a busy day, I know exactly what results I'm going to get. I'm going to go right through with the haircut step by step. Now I'll have Caroline's head just, if you want to measure it, okay, now that's back a little far. Caroline, look, right here, honey, go with me. If that comb is straight out, and it looks like it is, the chin should be just how she would walk around. If she tilts her head back or she tilts her head forward, it's going to change the overall bottom perimeter. Now what I want to do is just to take the bottom. I'm going to take off about 1.5 inches. Now I'm going to do it in little point cuts so these edges are soft. I don't really want a harsh line. I'm cutting a line, but it's a soft line. First cut. We comb the next section down. I can just hold the hair right in my hands. That's a little bit too thick. Let's pare that down a little bit because you really want to be able to see your guide underneath. And I am converging this slightly to the center. The reason for that, sometimes you get this part right here short, then you got to adjust everything. So I want the outer perimeter to be a really nice shape. So I'll converge to the back. Here again, I can see my guide, and I'll just point cut through that line. Nice and soft. If you were going to do with a razor, you would do the same exact thing I'm doing, only you'd be cutting with a razor. Just going back through, softening that line just a fraction more, but you see we're longer at the outer perimeter. Let another section down. You see how easy you can go through this. One section at a time. Let's get a little better, cleaner parting there. We want to keep nice, clean sections. Converge that hair to the center. I'll cut one half and then cut the other half. Since my fingers won't reach that far, then converge it over to the center, because of all things, we don't want this too short. This is just a little insurance that will help me keep it the length that I want. And not make that too short, because if this goes short, then I got to shorten that, and I don't want to do that, because I already have a length in mind. Okay, let's get a little more and just work these right through. You know what predictable results you're going to have, because I can do this every single time. I can duplicate it time after time. I can adjust it shorter, longer, whichever version I want. Making sure that ends are longer. And we'll drop that top section down and taking the side and combing it to the center just to ensure that I'm not going to be too short at the ends, the sides. And the more we lift, the more little bit of layering I'll put there. And what I didn't want is comb it down and cut it blunt. That's what I'm trying to get away from. So just taking it to the center. Now, this little section also will work on any head. Caroline has a rather large area here for this, but it works every single time. That's still the hair that will go to the back, and the hair that goes to the front is sectioned in the front of the ear. Combing it to the center, making sure we're not too short. Let's just check. Pretty close. Now, let's come back around. We have the hair already sectioned off there. I don't have to guess around about it. So I'll comb it down in a horizontal, and we're just going to point cut through, connect the back with the front. Get that little bit of a hanging length there. Being sure not to go too short here either. A smile might be nice. It might be nice. Look at them pretty teeth. Oh, probably a lot of money spent on that. Might as well show them. Your mama would like it. Now, she was a little longer on this side for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm cleaning it up and getting it in line. Just point cutting all those ends right through, front to back. Horizontal parting. Now, we can let all this top come down. And I've got it where the part is. And we'll comb all of it down over the natural fall of the hair to clean that top up. Okay? Just on the natural fall of the hair, we'll take off another inch by point cutting in there and getting that line in there. This, to me, is what makes hair cutting fun. You get down to the nitty-gritty, go to square one, work out your shapes, and by doing this, the sky's the limit. It makes you even more able to design new looks. To look in a magazine, if you know all these forms, you can look in any magazine, any new trend, and you can do it. Just all the way around now on the natural fall of the hair. All the way around. Now, here's where we're going next. Like I said, I'm not going to do bangs, but what I am going to do, because I want about, let's say, an inch, 2 inches of layering around here. Now, the way I'll do that, I don't want to take this or this any shorter, but I want to angle this a little bit. Where I angle this will determine how many layers are going in here. Because I'm going to leave this longer, I will have less layering. It's a perfect example for a layered haircut that is only done in the bottom perimeter. So you have that swing. You don't have layers up in here. You go about it the same way as if I were putting layers in. So we're going to comb a little bit on each side, and I'm going to go on an angle. And we're going to connect this, but never touching this, because that would change our form in a way that I don't want it changed. So it would be short there and it wouldn't look good. So we're not doing it. Now, just picking up from that angle, because these are all adjustable, I call them my symmetrics, my symmetric cuts, but they're all adjustable. Now, this is my tip for where I'm going to add the layers. I'll get right in the part area. As a matter of fact, we'll get a little from both sides. Now, there's several different ways to angle this. Actually, there's 3 ways. Only 3 I know of. Hers, I'm going to, let's turn her to the side, because I'm going to go from her bang area back. It'll be shorter in the front to slightly longer in the back. And I'm only removing about an inch. Let's get one more section for our guide. Where I've sectioned, since this is a traveling guide, I want to come to the part. Get about an inch off. Let's get one more little bit on this side to measure. And you must remember, I've traveled 3 sections. Picking up the front so you can see if this piece was cut here, you would use that and you would be shorter. But I'm doing a longer light layer. So I'm going short to long in the back. Now, let's go back. This is my measuring piece. I'm going back to the part, and we're going to work right around. And by the way, I would be standing here. The mirror is here. And it's just bringing the hands up and picking it up. I have my perimeter, and I have my guide in the top. Can we see that, Craig? This is the shorter area right here. That's my guide. You follow that? So we're going to pick it up, and we're going to do this. In other words, it's shorter in the top, and it'll be longer going down into the perimeter. And it will allow us to have layers right on this lower perimeter. And we're going to go around the head form, because remember, light layering, traveling guide, removes weight. Right where I've parted, I've traveled one section back, and here we go. We have our hanging length, we have our guide in the top, and I'm connecting them in this angle. And your guide is right there. Now, if you slant this, if you part it here and cut it here, you're going to have all this weight in here. So wherever you part to, travel to that part. So I'm traveling back one, got my guide, and holding it up and out. So I'll end up with exactly the layers where I want them. Traveled back. Let's turn her a little bit so you can see where I've traveled. A little bit back on the head form. And I want to be able to see this, and I don't do any of this and all that. I want to see it just like I'm conducting an orchestra almost, you know, holding that line out where you can see exactly what you're getting. And when this comes down, I have not gone into the lower perimeter, so literally I'll only have the layers in this area. And just travel back until you come to the middle. And you can see this shortest part, when it falls, this is where we're going to have the layering. Whoop. Sorry. You'll have to edit that, Craig. I'm trying not to do that too much. Just traveling right around. Started here, then here, then here, and almost to the center. Just very consistent all the way through. And I'm almost at the middle of the part, middle back of the head, and traveled right around. You can see where these are creating many little tiny layers right on the lower perimeter. Now, since we're in the middle, let's turn back around, because I can look in my mirror and I can see exactly my angle where I want to be. Let's pick up a little bit of this for our guide, and there it is, short to long. The perimeter on the bottom is the length that I want, so I'm going right to it. Now let's get this untangled a bit. Just take your first section at the front. We've got a guide at the beginning, and we go to it. Another one, travel one layer back. One layer back. I've got the guide there, and I cut. Believe you me, this is a cut that you will use over and over and over. It is probably one of the most versatile cuts out there, because this will allow you to tweak these ends and flick them out and do a lot of stuff like that. You can do this shorter, the same thing shorter, or you can do the same thing longer. Either way, everything is adjustable. And work right on around to the mid part in the back of the head using a traveling guide. All the way around. I've traveled one section back, always keeping my angle this way. Shorter in the top, longer at the bottom. Now I'm almost to the middle back section. Almost there. And I've picked up a guide all along the way. One more section. And let's just cross-check a minute. And when she gets dried, I'll have her dried, then we'll come back and we'll tweak. But particularly, she's got a lot of heavy hair. So this is good. This couldn't be a better little haircut for her and still keep her length there. All these little ends are going to be nice and soft. They'll fall right around her face real nicely. But I'll have her dried. We'll come back and we'll do all her little tweaking after it's dried. We'll be back in a moment. We're back with Caroline with her finished light layering haircut. And like I said in the beginning, this is layered on the lower perimeter. You can see right in here, this is right about this length, angled back, keeping her length here. And then this was my guide for the top. So literally, the layers come to right about here, just right in this area. It's a perfect haircut for when you want to have some movement and you don't want it real short. So now just to tweak it a little bit, I'm going to tilt her head over just a little because I want to go right through this area and just go back in. I can see where this is, and there's just a little bit of bulk, and you really want to see this on wet hair. If you on dry hair, if you try to do too much on wet hair, you're liable to take out some that you really don't want taken out. So just that little bit right in the lower perimeter, just holding it right out, tweaking with my scissors a little bit and taking a little of the bulk out. Now I most usually, in an instance like this, I prefer to do it with my scissors. I can adjust how much I'm taking out. Sometimes with the texturizers, you take out more than you really want. So just lifting it out, because this is layered just right in the lower perimeter. No layers up in here at all. You can see exactly where they fall. Now let's turn her right around and let's do a little bit on the other side. It's right in between here and the bottom. And just doing this on dry hair, I see exactly where I want it to come out. Just right in here. I like to do this on dry hair. The clients love it because they know you're taking a little special attention to them and really making sure that it's exactly what you want and how it's going to fall. Just a little bit right in the front area, and we'll just take just a little bit out. This does not change her length at all, but it just alleviates that weight a little bit in that lower perimeter. Just doing it by hand and just kind of eyeballing it and feeling it just until it lays just right. Just combing down. Let's just go through those ends a little, but you see how it can be done on dry hair and you know exactly where you're going, what you're going for. And I guarantee you when someone's had a haircut like this, they're not going to settle for anything else either, because they know how it feels and how it lays and how nice it actually does. And that's a really nice look on Caroline because she's got a nice square jawline, so it gives her a little bit more symmetrical look around the front. All right, and that's our light layering haircut.